Hi everyone, Sandy here. This should be the last tutorial video for this crazy cat lady mini album that I designed for Country Craft Creations. Here I'm showing you the crazy waterfall page, which is the last page in your book. And it's really easy to do waterfalls. I'm sure most of you have done some, but this one is upside down. It comes from the bottom and it uses different sizes of pattern papers to make it. So what I'm showing you here is the different flaps. Now yours may look different. I would do this after you have patterned all your pages and then you go through your scraps of paper. You do want to make sure that each waterfall is no wider than about 3¼ inches wide. It can be smaller in width, but it shouldn't be any wider than that or it won't fit on your section. And it can be any height, and you can just stagger these and put these in any way you want. So I'm going to go ahead and recreate this for you because it didn't record in my original tutorial video. I don't know what happened to it. I did make it on camera, but it somehow got deleted or corrupted or whatever. So the first thing that you do, you're going to cut a piece of pattern paper that will fit on the section of the page. So I will add the measurements up above. And then, as I said, you take different scraps. Now I'm using a different paper collection here from Authentique for this one on this video because I couldn't recreate, I didn't have enough papers to recreate it for the cat album. So get your scoreboard, and each scrap of paper that you're going to use, pay attention to your design. Remember that it's going to go on the bottom, so you want your 1/2 inch score line on the bottom of whatever you want to look at. So like I chose this piece for the cars, so I put the score on the bottom so that the cars will be looking face up to me when I flip my waterfall. I couldn't find my bone folder, so I used my spatula to score that. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you're going to do that on each one of these. I'm just going to speed this up. Just pay attention. Now if you want your cars on the inside, turn it, I'm playing with this, put your score line at the top of the pattern paper that you want it to be. So like scoring this one at the top of the cars, and when I fold the score line, the brown will be on the outside, this will flip down, and the cars will be in the right position. Now sometimes you will have paper, especially in the companions collection for the cat album, where there's directional paper on both sides, and if that happens, like the small cats and the small dogs are on the back, just mat some solid cardstock on one side or a different piece of pattern paper to make it directionally correct. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this part up, and then we'll put it in our book. We have all these scraps scored, a 1/2 inch score on to create the hinge for each flap. Now you create however many you want or however many will fit in your section. It depends on how tall you make yours, how many you can get in there. So I have my base piece of paper that we pre-cut, which was 3½ by 7 3/8 tall, and I just put glue on the hinge and put the very first one down at the bottom. And I'm sorry, I'm off camera. Try to do better with that. Let me push this up. So the second one's going to go right up against the cut line of the one you just attached down. So this will leave you a 1/2 inch space between each flap. So just put them in any order that you like. It doesn't matter. The height doesn't matter. If you want a taller one on the front, you want a shorter one on the front, whatever you want. I put the one in this particular album that I'm working on, I put the one that said Texas because I'm from Texas. So we go to a lot of places in Texas. And make sure you put it on as straight as you can. So what I do is I try to fold it down and make sure it matches the other one, especially if they're the same width. So if it's not as wide, that's not as important. You just kind of center it there. So I'm just getting it on here. Sometimes you have to redo your score line just a little bit. And you will go ahead and you will attach all your little waterfall flaps the same way. So you'll attach each one to the cut line of the one that's already been attached down previously to this one. Pay attention to your directions of your pattern paper if you need to refold it the other direction so that it looks right. Also to add photo mats or other printed papers to cover the directional papers that are maybe upside down. And if you want them upside down, that's fine. It's a Crazy Cat album, so that would be perfectly fine. So go ahead and put all these down, and then we'll come back and add this into our book. Okay, I have all my flaps attached to the base piece of paper, and I counted on this one, I have 8 flaps, and in the one in my cat album I have 10 flaps. So it is going to depend on how many you want and the sizes of your length of your paper that you cut. So take the whole piece, turn it over, and apply glue to the back side. And you've lifted up your little hinge, your little closure flap that holds it down, and you just attach this to the page and then burnish this top part that you can get to, and then as in many places you can between, so that it presses it down good and it sticks good. So now we have our crazy waterfall in our album, and we need to add magnets. So I will be adding it because I don't want to cover up the piece of paper that I have on the first flap. You can put it on your first flap and then put a photo mat or something over it, or you can put it on your second flap. So I put the magnet on the inside of the closure piece and then attached it down to my second flap, and that holds it like that. And I will be putting something on the second flap to cover that right there. So I have this extra one that I had scored, and I'm going to just cut the score line off, and I'm going to turn this into like a little photo mat out of the pattern paper. So I decided I liked a different one better. So I'm going to use the, I call it a blue cloud looking paper. And this little album that I'm doing is by Authentique also. It's called Pastime. I think it was from last year. I just hadn't made anything out of it. And so I thought this would be a great little travel album as well. So I'm just rounding the corners of that paper that I cut, or just the top two. And I did forget to tell you that if you wanted to, you can round the top 2 corners of all your flaps for this waterfall, which I did. So go ahead and mat this down to cover the magnet. Burnish. Make sure it covers really good on the magnet, and then when you close it up like that, it will hold it all closed for you. So now we're ready to pattern our closure piece. So I chose my papers to cut that. Just measure those to fit. I don't know in my notes if I have that written down. So I cut mine to just have a slight black margin around them, and I'm putting the glue on the back of the pattern paper, and you attach it down to the front and burnish that, and then you will also attach one to the inside, and that's the one that will cover the magnet on the closure piece. So flip this up, and I'm taking the other one. I'm going to glue that one in. I put a little bit of glue on the magnet to make sure that it's covered good. Slide this down so you can see. I don't have a real large workspace, so sometimes I have to be really careful with making sure I try to stay in the view of the camera, which is above my head. It's on a tripod arm. So I'll just glue this down and then burnish. This is a really cute paper collection, so if you still have some of that and you want to make a little travel album using this same album design, you're most welcome to do that. I think it'll be a lot of fun and a lot of different pattern papers. Remember, I did on the cat album, I used the Companions collection from Authentique that you can get from countrycraftcreations.com. So there's all the little waterfall flaps. I'm not going to add any photo mats right now. I'm just going to wait on that. So there you have it. That is how you add your waterfalls. I want to thank you so much for watching this series of tutorials. I have them all in a playlist for you so that you can follow along and work on yours. Again, I'm showing you mine. I added a little bit of string and a sticker there on the back side of the string. Just decorate it how you like. I did put my magnet on the front of this one, so I had an extra piece to cover it. I have small flaps in this one. This is so you can see what pattern papers I used, and you can duplicate that if you choose. Remember, some of these I did have to double mat to cover up the direction of the wrong patterns, go in the wrong direction. So that's it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.